I mean, it was a big male cat. And I was like, oh, I'd never seen one that big. I'd seen little ones before. I saw like one that looked like it was about like 60 pounds, and the other one was pretty much the same size. Those are the only two cats I've ever seen before. And I saw them like very briefly. This motherfucker was just sitting there under a tree at dusk with the big fucking head, man. And it just, the feeling of helplessness was overwhelming. That like, if that thing decided to jump me, it's over.
You're done.
There's not a thing you're going to be able to do. It's so much stronger. It's a gigantic house cat.
Yeah. Do you guys have cats?
Not anymore. No, but I've had cats many years, and cats kill so much shit.
They do.
They kill so much shit.
It's always a debate. Like, my wife and I have gone back and forth on like, do we get a cat? Do we not get a cat? And there's some, they carry some parasite, I guess.
Toxoplasmosis.
Like, yeah.
Mostly the wild cats get it.
Is that what it is? It's from like wild.
It's from rats.
Oh,
this is okay. It is a wild parasite. And there's a guy named Robert Sapolsky out of is he out of Stanford? I think he's out of Stanford. Psychologist, brilliant guy. He's done a lot of work on toxoplasmosis, and toxoplasmosis is the reason why they tell people not to touch women that are pregnant, not to touch their cat's litter box, because it can really fuck the kid up. And it can really fuck you up too. But what it does with people is wild. What it does with people is it makes them more reckless, and a disproportionate number of motorcycle victims have tested positive for toxoplasmosis. Some countries, at one point in time, France was as high as 50% of the population was infected by it.
What?
Yeah. It is a wild parasite that changes the way you think. And one of the things it does is parasites are so fascinating because they literally can hijack another body and get it to do different things. So they get inside a rat. The rat gets infected with toxoplasmosis, and it rewires the rat's sexual reward system. The rat now becomes sexually aroused by the smell of cat urine. It also completely removes any fear that the rat would have of cats. So the rat goes towards the cat kills the rat and eats the rat. The only way the parasite can reproduce is inside the cat's gut. So the cat, which is seemingly unaffected by this parasite, is just making it inside of its body. And then when it gets out, it affects all the creatures around it. It probably does affect cats too, but cats are so crazy anyway. How would you know? It just makes them slightly crazier. But with people, it makes them wilder. It makes them more reckless.
Is that why you don't have cats?
No, I probably have it. I probably have toxo. I've had feral cats. I had a feral cat for a while. He was nuts. He was so nuts that when I had to fix him, he was like, I guess he's like, when I got him, a friend of mine had these cats under her apartment, and her and her boyfriend captured these cats, these little kittens, and she goes, you want a kitten? And I had a cat already. I'm like, oh, get my cat a friend. And so I get this fucking cat, and the moment I see it, it hisses. It's a tiny little thing. Little tiny thing. It's hissing at you like it's a demon. And I pick it up, and it instantly starts purring loud, like like a foster kid who's finally been hugged.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just purring like. And I was like, oh, this poor little dude. So to get him accustomed to me, I had to stay in one of the bedrooms in this house that I was renting just with him. So I brought some books in there. I brought his litter box, and I brought cat food, and I just hung out with this fucking cat for like days in this room. And I had to do it that way because every time I would leave, when I'd come back in, he would literally climb the walls, just hissing and jumping and clawing at the drapes. It was wild. And then I would corner him and I'd touch him and he would start purring again. And then I'd pick him up and I'd start petting him. And then I'd just sit there like reading a book. And I did it for days to get this cat comfortable with me. And it worked.
Yeah.
I was the only one he was comfortable with, though. Anybody else that came over the house, you could not pick him up. You try to pick him up, he would fuck you up. Like, he'd bite you, he'd claw at you. But with me, he was cool. It was weird. But he was only cool, like, I had to, like, slowly approach him. His name was Jack Dempsey, because Jack Dempsey was a hobo. So I thought it was a good name for him.
Yeah.
So I'd pet him, and then he'd immediately start purring. Then I could pick him up. And he's like, you're the only one. I'm like, it's okay. As long as it's just me. You and me, buddy. We're good. So I had to get him fixed. And he must have known that my intentions were different. than
Yeah,
before. And so he wouldn't let me pick him up. And I had to get him into a laundry hamper. That was the only way I was going to be able to carry him. So I cornered him in the bathroom, and he's hissing. He's jumping from the tub to the sink. And I'm like, dude, calm the fuck down. It's just me. Calm down. So then I get a blanket, and I throw the blanket over him, and I wrestle him, and I stuff him into this fucking hamper. And I bring him to this guy, Dr. Craig, who was an amazing guy. He wound up dying later in a car accident. It was one of the saddest fucking things. He was the coolest vet ever. He was the coolest. And I brought him in, and I go, hey, man, I don't even know if you could do this. But he's spraying in my house now. He needs to get fixed. But he's wild. And he's like, how wild? I go, look how I have him. I got him in a hamper. You see the fucking hamper? It's like bouncing around. So they had to hold this cat down somehow or another and anesthetize him, put him out, and then they had to fix him. And then brought him back, and he was cool.
He was fine.
Yeah, he was cool with me.
Yeah.
He was always cool with me. Like, we got over whatever that was that I fucking kidnapped him. We got over it, and he would let me pick him up again. But only me. Like, no, my friends, no one, even people that were over the house all the time, no one could pet him.
That's actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah.
I probably got toxo from that cat, if I had to guess.
That's one of the reasons why we haven't had him. Like, because I'm like,
they are ruthless little murderers.
Yeah.
Cats kill billions of birds every year. B-I in America.
Yeah.
Billions.
They're billions.
That is so nuts. What is the actual number, Jamie? Because it's so crazy. You see the number of small mammals and birds that house cats.
And I look at
just house cats kill. I
look at my dogs and I'm like, dude, if I leave for like 45 minutes, I don't know if you guys are gonna make it. They're just like fluffy, they live on the couch basically.
Bro.
There's like no wolf left in them. Like,
so here's the number.
20.
What? 20.7 billion small mammals. The Journal of Nature Communications, cats kill between 1.4 billion and 3.7 billion birds, and between 6.9 billion and 20.7 billion small mammals, such as meadow voles and chipmunks. So that's 20 billion mammals and somewhere between 1.4 billion and 3.7 billion birds.
That's crazy.
They're murderers.
That's crazy.
They're fucking murderers.
Like, that's like mad respect there, because like these things are living in our house.
Oh my God. This one says between 1.3 and 4 billion birds, and between 6.3 and 22.3 billion mammals. So it's probably going up every year because there's more cats every year because they keep fucking. And the wild ones are the, wild cats. They're fucking unbelievable murderers.